Okay, our first live pin in
a couple months.
I think we technically filmed it in September, but it didn't come out until...
Right.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah, it was. It was a long time ago.
How's your 30 medium soft going?
Oh, brother. It's okay. Honestly, today I kind of decided. Whew, that's the kind of day that it has been. No, I decided that today is kind of the start of my. I'm trying to do 75 hard. It's like medium hard.
Okay, so do you have totally new rules?
No,
okay.
I don't. No, it's the same rules. I just added like a few things that I had already had, like when I was going through my phone when we were talking about it. But it's literally things like wear my Invisalign because I've had Invisalign for 12 years probably.
You wear your straight teeth.
Thank you. I think I wear my Invisalign. Like, I only have to wear it at night. I'm done. Like, I'm done my whole course.
Yeah.
I finished that a very long time ago. But, like, I still have little brackets. You can put a little insert. Yeah, so I wear my little elastics, but except that I don't. So, I'm trying to do that.
Do you ever feel that on the inside of your cheek?
Not really.
Oh, nice.
No. I actually got them removed, but my teeth shift so quickly that I got them put back on. So,
okay, fair.
I'm expecting to be buried with these. Yes, but I wore my Invisalign last night and my elastics. I did.
There you go.
And yeah, we were kind of talking before. So the 30 medium soft, not off to a stellar start, but it's not for lack of trying. I did have some days that were good. But one of the things that was cool was I really noticed how certain things affect me for the worse or better. And how we were talking like yesterday, I had a terrible day with social media. No, like my day was okay, but I started the day off by doom scrolling TikTok for, I don't even want to say how long because it's embarrassing.
It's not.
Oh,
people do longer.
It's true, but it was like the whole day. It was just so bad, and my brain was just craving this dopamine fix because that's how I started my day.
You needed your hit.
Yeah. And
I've kind of been on that too lately. I don't know what it is, but I was so good for like 10 days. I was so good. I stayed completely off social media, and then the last like few days.
Yeah. Do you find, I was going to ask this, do you find that traveling affects that for you?
I think it's what I have going on in my life that affects it for me. I'm like, when I need ultimate rest, I just want to lay down, hop on a TV show, and scroll. Yeah. But then I feel like shit. So it perpetuates the shit.
Yes, that's the thing, right? It's so interesting. It's so interesting how that works. It's like, yeah, when you feel like ass, you're like, I just want to not do anything and I don't want to feel bad about this. But then it makes you feel worse.
I wish my dopamine fix was like
going to the
long
gym.
running, you know?
Yep.
I'm gonna do a 5K and then a 6K and then a whatever and like go up. No.
Yeah, no. Me either. It's funny though, because I was thinking back about this, and we kind of mentioned we're both in Winnipeg.
We are both in Winnipeg.
So on the drive over to my house, you know, I really, and I know that it's kind of like a thing now on social media where everyone's like, LOL, ADHD. I genuinely believe that I have it. But I don't know if I'm like a product of my environment. I remember struggling with a lot of these things forever. Like I remember when I was studying for a midterm, oh my God, it would have been at least 10 years ago.
Okay.
I think it was more like 12 or 13. But I remember I needed to study for this midterm and I spent 8 hours researching Halloween costumes and I did not study.
What did you go as?
Harley Quinn. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not even that creative, but
it's fun.
But just like things like that, like and it makes me sad because, not to toot my own horn, but like I know a lot about a lot of things and I learn quickly, but I just cannot make myself do anything or focus on anything. Like I cannot do it. And it's ruining my life. Like frankly, just being honest. So we were talking about how, you know, being here, I want to try and get in with a specialist, but I'm curious if I'm like a product of my environment, because I don't remember it being this bad before social media. And
what was it like in high school?
Oh my God. High school was I mean, I couldn't study. Like,
yes,
I could not study. Yeah. Like, I could not do anything, no matter how badly I knew that I needed to do it, unless it was, like, due in 12 hours. That's the thing. It's like that, okay, fire under your ass. That's the only way I can get it done.
Yeah.
It's the only way I can get anything done.
I'm kind of like that for self-tapes, which is not ideal.
Right.
But then I'm like, oh, I have 5 days to do it. Of course I'll do it the night before.
If it's
because I don't care.
If it's a super interesting role to you, though, does that change?
Yeah, probably.
See, but that's
it depends.
The thing,
like if
right?
there's like, I've had a lot of tapes where they've been like, we've pulled inspiration from this and this and this, and I'll like watch the movie.
Sure.
Or I'll like, I like to read it over and then sleep on the lines and then wake up the next day and do it, because I have had a really hard time lately remembering my lines.
Interesting.
But I find when I like just let it marinate for a night and then wake up and do it in the morning.
Yeah.
So much better.
Interesting.
So much better.
I like learning about all these like little random tidbits that work for people. Sorry, speaking of ADHD. Hard turn. We were talking about this a while ago, and I cannot remember.
That comforting hand.
It was, oh God, it's a theater term, and it's not Chekhov's figures or whatever that is. Chekhov? I don't know. It's something else, and I'm not sure if I'm confusing it with another thing, but it's like the physical form and like the physical action. I can't remember what it is.
We were talking about
I think I asked you if you had ever heard of them. And I think you said
this
no.
was a person?
This
was Michael Chekhov?
No, that's a separate thing. He has, I believe it's Chekhov, but he has these figures, and they're like poses. And I did an acting class like forever ago, and we were doing them, and it was really interesting, like the emotional state that these things kind of brought to you based on what it made you think of. Like there was one pose that I did that to me made me feel like it was a mother like reaching for her small child's hand as she was like being drug away or like walking away. Like
any passerby, like if this is that big window, like acting is just so weird. You were like just a bunch of absolute weirdos. Just like, this is my freaks. Child. I'm leaving in the dark. And someone's going to their corporate job, walking by in their pencil screw. Like, what are these fuckers doing?
God,
that's so funny.
Yeah, ridiculous. But there's another something, and I forget what it's called. But it's like it's a physical thing. And I had asked if you I will. I'll find it. But things like that, and like how some like things like that work for some people and not others. And like everyone has their own little kind of thing that works for them. I just took an acting class, and we did this really interesting thing, and it's funny because it's not anything new, and it's all very much like all of, you know, Uta Hagen and Ivancha and all of that. It's like, it's all the same thing. They're all saying the same thing, just in different words. But the exercise, we should try it next time we have tape, is I say my line, and then you repeat my line exactly like as Meisner? I said it. It's sort of like a Meisner exercise. Yeah, so if the line is, your hair looks really nice today, and I go, your hair looks really nice today. You would have to say, your hair looks really nice today.
Well, so you have to say it exactly as they said it, even if they tripped up. Wow, yes. Okay.
And then I go,
what's the merit of that?
Well, it's a listening exercise. So it's a little bit Meisner. It's very much Meisner, I guess. But then the next part, I hope this isn't like copyrighted. I don't think it is.
No.
We'll review it.
Yeah.
Then I go, what I'm really trying to say is, and then what you're really trying to say. So something like, and I mean the scene informs, you know, the whatever, but like, if we had just gotten a fight or something, whatever the scene is, right? Me saying your hair looks really nice today could be a peace offering or whatever, like whatever it happens to be, right? But I would say, okay, so what I'm really trying to say is, I'm sorry. Oh. What I'm really trying to say is I'm sorry. Right?
That's really interesting. Yeah. I feel like I've been trying to do that just like on paper.
That's, yes.
Like just writing what it actually means to me, like what I'm just literally doing or saying to these people, like right beside the chunk of text.
I used to try to do that too, but to bring this back to the whole ADHD conversation, or whatever it is, whatever the frick is wrong with me, I just can't, like, I know what needs to be done, and I just cannot bring myself to do it. So then I do my tape, and I'm like, wow, if only I had whatever, I would have done better, and it would have been more interesting, and then I'd be working more, and blah, 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 and, which is not true, but, you know, that's what I tell myself. So, I digress.
Racing thoughts. Another element of ADHD. Literally, I feel like that's like a cycle. Like even as you started saying that, I could see the string that attached all these dots together.
It's like that meme where he's got like the pictures and the yarn. And he's like, anyway.
Yeah, no, totally.
So I say what I really am trying to say is I'm sorry, and then you say what you're really trying to say is. But what you think I'm really trying to say. Maybe you think when I say that I'm like
a bitchy
trying to like
way.
Yeah, like
your hair looks really nice. Like you think it's shitty.
Yeah, like you're
perpetuating this fight.
Yes, exactly, right? And it's so interesting because you can either have the same conclusion about that line or a different one.
And neither one is right or wrong.
Neither one is right or wrong, but it's also creates moments of coming together and then conflict, right?
That is so interesting.
That's so
almost like cognitive behavioral therapy, but in acting.
What? Okay.
I'm doing this worksheet right now. It's like this whole booklet. It's called Mind Over Mood. I picked it up off the street once, and I never filled it out. But I didn't realize it was like a full work booklet, and I was like, oh. Okay. This is the time.
Okay.
So I pulled it out and I've been doing it every day, and it was kind of going over like this one section was the same sentence or like the same situation that was happening to one person and how 3 different people will perceive it in different ways.
Right.
So let's say you're at a party and it said Alex is talking to you at a party and he keeps looking behind you and like you think one of 3 things. The first person thinks, oh, he's uninterested. I must be so boring. When he's talking to me, he's looking away, whatever. So that's one person. The second person might think, oh my gosh, he's so rude. Like as if he's not looking at me, paying attention to me. And the third person might think, oh, Alex probably has social anxiety and he's having a really hard time maintaining eye contact. But all these 3 different views led to different emotions that person felt and was kind of a reflection of how they see themselves and their self-worth.
Interesting.
Because if you're immediately like, oh, well, they're doing that because they hate me, then your brain's probably wired very differently than the person who's like, they said it was caring to be like, oh, he probably has social anxiety, and you're not putting it on yourself. That's what that reminded me of.
That is so interesting.
That's a neat way to like. That's almost like cognitive behavioral therapy before.
That is fascinating. But and not to like, but like. Because acting is just expensive make-believe. But are we not just, like...
imitating life.
All human, right? Your character is human, too. That was one of my big things that I learned from this class was, like, be messy and have mistakes and don't be concerned about perfection, which is, like, my big thing. The exercise goes one step further where you do the same thing, but then the next time... So you do the line, you repeat. I say what I meant to say, you say what you think I meant to say. Then I say what I'm doing, so the action. So what I'm doing with that line, for me, if I'm thinking it's like a peace offering, I'm saying I'm sorry, is I'm extending the olive branch, right? I'm trying to draw you nearer to me, right? Where you might think you're pushing me away, right? Depending on where you're coming from in the scene. Anyway, it's all very interesting, but that cognitive behavioral thing. That is fascinating.
It is. It's honestly, they did so many studies and were saying that a lot of people who were like severely depressed, like like at the point in their life where they're like, I don't want to wake up tomorrow, do cognitive behavioral therapy and see like, it's one of the most extreme differences, like one of the things that can bring the most extreme difference in someone's life. And they had like 3 different groups. They had someone who just did cognitive behavioral therapy, someone who did regular therapy, and then someone who did cognitive behavioral therapy and was on antidepressants.
Okay.
And it just seeing like these people went from, please don't let me wake up tomorrow, to I'm okay with my life, right, and I'm content, which I think is really important. I've really been learning more and more as I progress in life that like it is so much more important to be content than it is to just be happy.
We were talking about this the other day. Yes, being content versus being happy. I actually read this quote a really long time ago on like LiveJournal. Like that's the kind of kid I was. I was on MySpace and LiveJournal.
Was that like the pre-Reddit?
Sort of. It was LiveJournal was kind of like, I don't even know how you describe it. Like Tumblr maybe.
Oh, okay,
but for writing. It was
like a Wattpad, but not.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what Wattpad really is. But like, I want to say yes.
One. Okay.
Oh,
different vibe. Whew. Anyway, sorry, my journal.
That's okay. But it was something about like people feel like the default is happy, like you should be happy, but that's not what you should be. The default is whole, because not everything in life is going to be amazing, and a lot of life is just the everyday sort of mundane things. So how do you become content in that?
Absolutely.
And I think one of the things that's really tough when you know, have your own business or you're an artist is the uncertainty. Like, how do you maintain some sort of semblance of security and being content when it feels like you're constantly just waiting for the phone to ring, or you don't know? Like, I had a situation 2-ish weeks ago, I guess, where I was potentially being offered a role, but the call time was that day, shooting in Vancouver, and I was in LA. So I had to decline, which was, you know, I've been working towards this for the last 7 years, having to say no to a role. Like,
yeah, that's not a fun feeling.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry.
No, it's okay. It wasn't meant to be, and you know, it's whatever. But how do you now? Okay, those things are gonna happen. So how do you go like, okay?
Yeah, I think that we are given way too much time to think.
Yeah.
In this career where you don't have a 9 to 5. Like, I talk to my friends that are paramedics and like just have regular jobs, and their focus and their goals in their lives are so different. And I even think like the lifestyle, like I look at I have moved, I think like 6 or 7 times in the last 2 years. Like, that is not normal. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. And I've lost so much money just like throwing stuff out, like, or going, okay, well, I'm going to stay in this temporary place, so I'm going to put my stuff in storage, and I have like hundreds of dollars worth of food, and I'm just going to give it away because I'm like, well, I can't store it. But I think we are given too much time to think. And I look at the lives of the people who do have these jobs where they are busy and they are working towards a purpose for 8, 9, sometimes more hours in the day. And then those little things in life, coming home to a sweet person or a sweet cat or dog, like, that's so special.
Yeah.
And you can recognize that because you're like, oh, I'm working towards something, and that's my whole separate life.
Right.
But in my personal life, like, sometimes I think we don't realize that life, this could just be all it is. Like, sometimes it doesn't get better than, you know, being with people you love.
Yeah.
Ordering a pizza.
That's the thing, right? I feel like especially in the age of social media, again, kind of the ADHD bring us back. You know, it's like you said it on the way here. You know,
we had a preamble
back in the day. We did have a preamble back in the day. Back in the day, all you had to compare yourself to was the Joneses, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. And it's funny because now there's the whole keeping up with the Kardashians, which I feel like was, you know, the beginning of the end. But I digress.
The beginning of the end.
I digress.
All you had to focus on was like your neighbors.
Yeah.
The people in your cul-de-sac. Like, oh, this family's doing well. They have their nice, reliable vehicle. Like, they really did it up with the Christmas lights this year. Yeah. Like, they're doing good. And your family, your friends.
And not to say that that's, like, you shouldn't compare yourself to anyone, regardless. But in the age of social media, right, it's like, my God, it's everyone's highlight reel, right? And I know this is not anything new, like we're, you know, but it's everyone's highlight reel, and like I think I follow like 3,000 people, you know? So
I think you do too. Yeah. Anytime I see something or someone cool, and I like go on their page, it's always followed by Danika and Madison, and I'm like,
I'm just everyone's fan. I'll go on my Explore page, I'm like, oh, she has nice hair, follow.
That's so nice. She's a girl's girl.
I'm a girl's girl. What can I say? No, I just, it's, God, I had a point. Why did we bring this up?
We brought this up because we were saying back in the day you didn't have.
Right.
Everything's so in your face.
Oh yes, everything is so much in your face, and you're just comparing yourself.
Isn't it crazy that we're addicted to that though?
Yeah,
that's a dopamine fix.
That's a dopamine fix where you're like, oh my God,
I'm starting the day with that.
Yeah, and so I really notice when I don't start my day or end my day with that, I'm so much happier, and I'm not constantly searching for that.
I almost feel like as humans too, we just like I don't know if it's subconscious or if it's fully in there. We like to punish ourselves.
We do.
Like, no one actually truly likes suffering.
Yeah.
But we opt to do things that make us suffer.
The devil you know, right? It's scary to make changes when you don't know what the outcome will be. But at least if you are surviving, it's comfortable to stay in that place. That's something that I really struggle with is change and letting. This is a really good quote that I heard a while ago, but let go or be dragged. Ooh. Isn't that crazy, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I really struggle. Like even when I moved to Vancouver, it was like a soft move because I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I want to leave Winnipeg. So I still have like half of my stuff in my old bedroom down the hall. And then I decided I really liked Vancouver, so I stayed. And then even now moving down to LA is like, okay, I spent a little bit of time there. And I mean, that's a whole other thing.
You've kind of sprinkled your stuff all around the board.
So, how
Me too. I have storage, like all my stuff is in storage in Vancouver.
But how you said like you've moved 6 or 7 times, that's like, I'm like half of my stuff is here and half of my stuff is in Vancouver and half of my stuff is in LA, and I spend so much money on flights and checking my bags. It's insane. Like it's so insane. And I wonder if that is like part of, like some people just like that. You know, like I do enjoy being able to go where I want and, you know, live in different places.
I think it's an ADHD thing too. I also actually have ADHD. Was diagnosed by a psychiatrist. I don't know what it is. I think it is a dopamine fix. You think, okay, well, I'm not getting anything from this career right now, so if I like, or whatever facet of your life, and you're like, okay, well, if I just change everything in my life, then I'm gonna be happy. But you take yourself with you everywhere you go.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm in a period of my life right now where I'm like, I want to be content wherever I go. So that's why the cognitive behavioral therapy booklets are being done and things like that, because I'm like, okay, the next place I end up, I don't want to be going, oh, grass is greener. I shouldn't have done this. Grass is greener. I just moved out here because I was like, I need this fresh start and I'm going to go do it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just hard. I like one day just want to have a farm.
Right?
I'm like, I just want my little farm with my little tomatoes and whatever, my sheep, and I just want to like live just really peacefully, but until that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I think my big thing in trying to find contentment.
Sure.
Contentment.
I think.
I don't know.
I'm a French immersion kid, so I never know it.
I'm not. I'm just on one. No, I guess my thing is I guess this was maybe the point I was trying to make with social media is like there's just so much out there now and there's so many options and there's so many things to consider and it's like, well, to your point, grass isn't always greener, but there's always like, oh, maybe I'd be happier doing this, or oh my god, they look so hot, or I want that, or it's always something. You're always looking for the next thing.
And validation.
And I just have such a hard time like letting go of the need of validation, but also accepting change and not being afraid of it. I'm at a point in my life where I have so many different, I guess you kind of are too, but it's like so many choices to make, and it feels like none of them are the right choice, and all of them have a plethora of negative outcomes.
Yeah.
But then, it's like, but what if it does work out? What if it does work out, right? And why do we default to this, oh my god, but this is gonna not work and I'm gonna be so sad.
I've been defaulting to Reddit, which is really bad.
Oh, I love Reddit. I don't care what anyone says. I love Reddit.
I've been going, oh, what's your experience like living in this city versus this city? Like, I've been really, right now, reflecting in my life on 2 places I want to live.
Yeah.
One of them I thought I wanted to live in more than I do.
Okay.
And I'm learning, I spent a brief period of time where I, like, had to be there. And I was like, there's, like, shit on the ground. And I, like, it's constantly gray. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. But the other place is, like, a really big change for me. Like, I've never lived there. I have, like, a few friends there. But I'm like, okay, I don't know. Yeah. And I think with what you were saying with uncertainty, I've been really trying so hard lately to just go with whatever my stomach is telling me.
Go with the flow. Yeah.
Like, if I'm a people pleaser. I am. And I come by it honestly.
Yeah.
But I have been trying really hard. If someone's like, I want to do this, I need you to do this with me, I need this, I am not going to do it if I don't feel good about it. If I want to rot in my bed, I'm gonna rot in my bed. And that's my choice. That's my decision, and that's just what I'm doing. And so I'm like, so I'm kind of in a weird state right now, but I'm trying to do a lot of self-growth, reflection, and transformation. And in that, it's like a sink or swim kind of vibe. And I'm trying really hard to just breaststroke my way through.
Yeah.
But I recently, I did something that was probably the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my whole life.
What'd you do?
But I needed change, and I want to do the things that I always say I'm going to do and that I don't. So I have for a long time, my goal, I think the ultimate happiness you can have when it comes to finance is financial freedom, in the sense of being able to schedule your own work. I think that is so huge. My dad owned a business my whole life, and I saw the way that he operated things, and he was always able to be at my school stuff.
Yes.
And that is actually so huge to me. So I've always wanted kind of just a side hustle, just a side fun thing that I can do that's me, so I don't have to do jobs that I hate for the rest of my life while I'm waiting for that next big thing.
I think that's huge. I think everyone needs to figure out a way to do that. But anyways,
totally, something that just makes you happy.
Yeah,
you need content.
You're not answering to anyone. That's the key. Is you're your own boss.
Absolutely. I think it's really important, just for me, for how I want to structure. I have crippling anxiety, and I'm like, I want to know that if one day I woke up and was like, I am not okay, I could be like, hey bestie, I'm gonna have to get you in tomorrow. Hope that's or later, or what, huge.
Yeah.
So, for a really long time, I've wanted to take a sugaring course. I just found that would be...
Yes.
I thought that would be so fun. And I was like, you know what? That's something I want to do. I want to have my own little sugaring business. So I did research on where I could go and do that.
Yeah.
Back home, here, it was like $2,200. Plus you had to buy your kit. Plus I was chatting with someone who is a sugarist here, and she was like, there's a very low success rate of that program.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so I was like, I don't really want to do that. Like, I don't want to spend that much money. So then I was Googling it, and there was this like lovely place in Kamloops that was like a full beauty school. They did everything. They did hair, they did makeup, they did nails. And I was like, okay, awesome, great. I was in the throes of like moving and very busy, and it was winter and I didn't have winter tires. I had to rent a car. So I was like,
did the rented car not have winter tires?
It had all season, but that's basically good as nothing.
Yeah, that's worse. Yeah.
So it was getting dark. It's probably about 5 o'clock at night. The sun is setting.
Oh.
I drove the Coquihalla Highway in a blowing snowstorm late at night.
Brother.
It was the most dangerous thing I've ever done. And there's probably someone out there like, this bitch. That's not like... But I was alone. Like, I was completely alone. Well, I had my cat.
Sure. And maybe that's not better. I don't know.
No, I know. I was like, I don't want to jeopardize her life. But I was like, okay, my dad was like, you eyes wide open. Like, you focus. Focus. And I was like, okay, so
dial in.
I called the rental company, and they were like, you needed to request a car that had winter tires. And it was like a compact SUV, and it was like a 2022. And it did a lovely thing where like if I slid out of the lane.
Oh yeah, I was like,
so it's late at night, and I called the rental company. They were like, go to Enterprise and swap the car.
Okay.
So I go to Enterprise to go swap the car for a car that has winter tires. So I had to drive to the Vancouver airport.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. Keep in mind, from North Vancouver where I was staying, that was like an hour.
Oh God.
So I drive an hour, I go to the airport, and the guy's like, yeah, no, you can't swap it because we don't have any of those cars. He was like, but you should be fine. Like, if you get pulled over, they meet the bare minimum requirement, which did not inspire confidence. But I was like, okay, sure. I was hell-bent on doing this. I was like, I'm getting the certification.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm either coming back as a sugarist or like there's no other option.
Yeah.
And so I drove myself late at night, blowing snow. And the craziest part was, so I did that. I stayed at the Ramada. I like left my sweet cat in the room, like while I did the sugaring. She had her little automatic pet feeder. She was fine.
Yeah,
She was well kept. I did that, and then the next day the course was over. It started really in the morning and then went all day, and I was like, okay, I got my shit together. I threw it in the car, and I was like, I want to drive back on the Coquihalla when it's less, because it started to snow.
Oh my God.
And I was like so stressful. So I was like, I want to try to make as much daylight out of this as I possibly can.
Yeah.
When I drove back, seeing what I drove in the dark, I was like, brother. But I was so tired at this point. My cat was in a cage the whole day before, so she was like up all night.
Yeah.
I had this period of time. There was this song that was playing that I find very calming. And I was just driving, and my eyes started to close, and it's like very windy, and it was very slushy, and there's semis, and I was like, oh, I could just rest my eyes. And then I was like, oh shit, I have clove. Not that I would have just rested my eyes either way, but I was like, wake up, okay, we're driving. And I did that whole drive back. Like, I had like no sleep, and I'd been like having to use my brain all day. And anyway, I made it back. The moral of that very long story was I made it back, but I'm really trying to commit to doing the things that I say I'm gonna do.
I admire the commitment.
Definitely, I wouldn't suggest like compromising your safety in order to do that. But I came back a sugarist, and now I'm like, I have this skill that I can use and I can do and I can implement in my life to make money and be happier and fulfill my contentment.
Yes.
Like, I think that'll make me feel more whole.
Yes.
To know that I'm not trapped. Like,
you're not trapped. Now you have a business, like, no matter what, you have a way to make money on your own terms.
Money, and I'm not like like the desperation kind of fades with like, oh, when's my next project? Because I'm like, it's coming. And when it comes, I don't have the stress of like, I'm gonna have to quit my job.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry, ladies. No Brazilians.
That's kind of my thing right now is I do have, you know, work from home jobs. One of them is very much my own business. Like I teach and I make my own classes, and if something comes up, like I had a couple auditions. I think I had 3 that I had to do in one day a couple weeks ago.
Isn't that just how it works?
Which was great. Like, it was awesome. But I was like, I don't have time to teach these classes today. So I canceled them. And I was like, hey guys, I'm so sorry. I'm super busy with auditions today. And honestly, it's cool because I use that to market myself. Like, it's a little makeup class. And I'm like, get ready with me with a professional actor. And all the kids are like, oh my God, I want to be an actor. So it's kind of like, if I'm like, hey, sorry, I have all these auditions, they're like, oh my God,
that's so cool. We hope you get them.
Yeah. Or even that day that I sort of booked that thing and then couldn't do it, literally my agent called me 2 minutes before my class was supposed to start. And I sobbed. So I messaged my student. I was like, hey, like, I'm going to be a little late for class. I started class.
I want to swaddle you. Like, I'm like, that's so sad.
And it's so funny because the classes are recorded on Zoom. And so I will go back and rewatch just in case, like if there's something specific that they want to do for next week, I'll go back and rewatch just so I'm prepared. And so I rewatched the recording from that class, and it records right away. So before they're in the class, it like opens up and your camera's on, and I'm just like red-eyed, like. But
that's so
it's
sad.
exactly, it was fine. And she was so sweet. She's like, oh my God, I hope you didn't have to cancel the show because of me. And I was like, no. No, she's so sweet. But it's exactly that, right? It's like if you do book something, you can be like, hey, so sorry, like it's not this stress of like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to quit my job and like, are they gonna hire me back? Like I had a thing where I had quit my job because I was away filming for months. Actually, I was gone filming for like 4 months. This was
that was awesome.
Yeah, that was sick. 2022 was
a great year. You coined it as your best year.
It is my best year to date so far, and like you said, maybe that's as good as it's gonna get, and that's
but I don't mean that.
No.
You're gonna have many great
also,
years.
I feel like Ariana Grande and Cynthia in all their press tours right now.
That's so cute.
I'll take it. No, but I had quit my job, and it was, you know, I think when I booked it, it was enough time out that I was able to give them notice, and that was fine. But I came back, and I had just started back at my old job, and then in the winter in Vancouver, anyone who is in the industry and, you know, is out there knows this, for whatever reason, like in Winnipeg, there isn't really a slow season for serving. It's pretty consistent year round. But in Vancouver, January to March, April, dead.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was boom.
No, dead. You will get called off 4 out of your 5 shifts, and your 1 shift that you show up to will be an hour long. Like, it's so bad. So I always was getting a seasonal job during that time because they would always have them. Last year I did Sephora, which was awesome. The last couple of years before that, I did Aritzia, which was also great. I just worked in their head office, and it was lovely. But, so I had just got back to my old job, and it was day 2 of training for Aritzia, which I had worked at before, so I knew, but it was just protocol. They had everyone train. And I get a text, from a producer that I had made friends with working on another show that we had done together. And she sends me, she goes, see you Friday, winky face. And I'm like,
that would stop my heart.
It stopped my heart. And then like 30 seconds later, my agents call me with an offer for a lead of a lifetime. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to quit my jobs again. And I was like, but I need this seasonal job. So I was like, oh my God, forward? Like, will they hire me back? Can I maybe just do my training at home? Like,
it seems like a champagne problem, but it's really not. Like, it's your livelihood. Like,
that's the thing, right? It's like, okay, this is awesome for this amount of time. I'm going to make this amount of money, and that's great, and it's going to get me through the next few months. But then, you know, we have a friend that's kind of going through something. I mean, I'm sure we have a lot of people who are going through something similar. Where
I know, it's like, I need you to narrow this.
Yeah, you're like, which one of these? This person works a lot. But they don't have a survival job, and the money is dwindling.
I think I know who you're talking about.
No, it's not like a secret or anything. I don't know if they want to be talked about.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, it seems awesome when you get paid this huge lump sum of money. It's split over, you know, the time that you're not working.
And there's many people in that boat.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, so bringing it back. Yes, how do you make something for yourself that gives you purpose, that is going to make the everyday, you know, not even necessarily exciting, but it feels like you have some sort of control, maybe? I don't know if that's the right word either, but it's I really think that having something that is yours that can hopefully, you know, set you up for financial success really contributes to that feeling of contentment.
And like security.
And stability.
Like, those things are huge. And like,
oh, sorry, why did the camera go to focus? I hope it wasn't the whole time.
Hello? It's probably fine.
Okay.
That's like those conversations I have with my paramedic friends that have like, I don't know, just like a really good grasp on reality.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need to somehow find ways in your life as an artist to emulate that. To have little pieces of your life of stability. Like, it's not healthy, and it's not good to constantly have to, like, yeah, sure, it's change. Some people think it's really fun, and some, like, you're constantly kind of in like a fight or flight. That's not fun. That's not like, I saw a quote the other day and I related to it so hard. It was like, someone needs to tell my nervous system that we're not being hunted for sport.
Yeah.
Like, truly. Yeah, and I feel like that contributes to it. So creating a nice life in the uncertainty for yourself that you're proud of and you're content with, and you're like, you know what? Every day I get to wake up and I get to sugar these armpits and it pays my bills and I get to have great conversations with great people in doing that, and then I have my acting classes and I'm working in that industry. I also feel like it's gonna really change the way that I look at tapes. They'll just be fun.
Yes.
It won't be I need this because I have a job that I enjoy.
Exactly.
It'll be this is just so fun and silly.
This is fun and silly.
And I get to be fun and silly for a second.
Oh, that was, sorry, my God. Literally, I think it's so funny that we started by talking about ADHD, and I'm like,
we should have made this something about... No, I liked Pinned.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of, like, I feel like you probably look at the episodes too and you're like,
oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But in the acting class, right, creating the stability, a routine so that you're still able to do your art, you know, maybe classes is for that, or you just get together and you work on things. The other big thing that I took from that class was like having not an accountability buddy, but people that you can work with and collaborate with. And I think that also creates a sense of contentment, because I don't know about you, but especially in like the self-tape world and in, you know, the entrepreneurial world where you're working for yourself, like that's one thing that I've noticed is working from home and having my own business is I don't get,
That's okay.
Working from home and having your own business, you don't get the social aspect of working with people, and it can be very isolating.
Totally.
That I'm trying to incorporate now into acting, mostly for two reasons. One, because having your own business, and whether that means working from home or whatever, but it can be a little bit lonely. But also in my acting class, and I've noticed this just for myself as well, but I work so much better when I am collaborative, and ADHD thing, body doubling. Having someone, have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So it's basically just having someone else nearby. You're not talking, you're not working together, but it's having someone in the vicinity, and it almost is like an accountability thing.
Does it have to be somebody that you know, or would it be like someone who opts to go to a coffee shop?
That's why
do their
I
work instead of doing it at home.
When I was in university, and I didn't know, because I didn't think that I had ADHD in university, but I had like a very specific environment that I needed to study in, and that was in the library or at a coffee shop. So it was somewhere where it was quiet and no one was talking to me, but there were people around. That is how I work best. And also, just with acting, I get so in my head that I like to collaborate with people. I like to talk about the scene and get their ideas. And that was something that was kind of pointed out to me in my class, was like, you don't have to do this alone. Like, you can, it doesn't make you less creative or less of an actor because you want ideas. And that's why, you know, we've brought this up a few times, we have the same acting coach, and sometimes he'll ask, like, why did you want coaching for this? Because you don't need it.
Yeah, did you just need a reader?
Yeah, did you just need a reader? That's what he says. And I'm like, no, I just feel a lot more free to make decisions when I'm working with someone that I know is rooting for me. And
it's a nice safety net.
It's a little bit of a safety net.
They've got your back.
They've got your back.
They say that. I didn't realize this. I don't know if this is like a universal thing, but it was something in the improv group that I was in briefly. They will, before shows, go, I've got your back. I got your back. I got your back. And like they all
that's cute.
do that, which is really cute. But
that,
it's nice because it just reaffirms the idea that you're not out there alone.
Yes.
With people going, be funny, be funny, be funny. Like, I will come in and I will help you.
I'm gonna help you.
If you need help, I will. I've got your back.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of nice.
Yeah, that is nice, and it gives you, like, I know this is funny. I feel like this is an improv term. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like permission to fail. Maybe that's just like a life term. I don't know.
I did it briefly, but sure.
But that was it's like people are going. I know this is an improv thing. It's make your partner look good, like make them look good, right? So if you feel like you're floundering, that can honestly, and a lot of times is, like the funniest part of the performance. Because if your scene partner is invested, as they, should be, hopefully, they're not gonna let you fall.
No, if you're floundering, I'm gonna comment on your behavior. Like, you want to point out the absurdities of it, because it makes the audience laugh. They're like, oh my gosh, that's what I was thinking, and she thought it too.
And then, but meanwhile, and like, I feel like you and I are very similar. If that were me and I was like floundering, I'd be like, I am the worst ever, and I'm just gonna go. Like, it's that weird thing. But when I was in class, we were doing an exercise. I forget exactly. Oh, we were doing like co-star, sort of like a self-tapey thing. And there was someone in the class, and the scene was where it was this person who had witnessed a car chase on a rural road. They were a cyclist and this car. And so this person is being interviewed by the news. And, we kind of worked through it together as a class, which I thought was really cool. But they were like, all right, what kind of person do you think is this person? They're biking down a rural road. They probably live around here. Do you think that they are on TV often? Is this their first time? Are they excited about it, right? And so it was so lovely, because the way that this person approached it was that she was like really excited, like hi mom, but she flubbed a line and she asked to start again. And our acting coach wouldn't let her. He stayed in the scene, and she was like, I just don't can we? And he was like, you don't understand the question? Like, I'm asking you what you saw. Like, he stayed in it. He was the interviewer. And it's so funny because I could see that she was squirming, But for the scene, it worked so well.
Yeah.
Like, someone who wants to, like, be on TV so bad is like, I'm so sorry, can we just start again? Like,
That's
worked.
awesome.
And it was the best scene. It was the best take that anyone did, and it was so funny, and it was so real, but, like, I'm sure for her felt like the paramount of mistakes. Like,
yeah.
And I start again. It was like, but it was so good
on camera.
Yeah.
Were you in that, like, Challenging the Actor series at the same time as me?
Were we in the same time?
One of them, I think we were.
We were at the same time. At some point we were.
I remember there was one girl.
That's how we officially met.
It was how we officially met.
Yeah.
There was one girl who was doing, one of the assignments in one of the weeks was to, like, convincingly have a phone call.
Oh, yes. I remember that one.
And one of the girls, her mom walked in and this was over Zoom because it was COVID.
So funny.
And her mom walked in as she was doing this phone call, and she went, "Mom, I'm on the phone." And she was like, "Oh, sorry, sweetie, I'll come back." And it was the most awesome thing. Like, commit to the bit. Like, do it. Just fully commit and, like, don't get out of it. It was so awesome, and we all were just dying laughing because we were like,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Commit, though. I love that you said that, because I think that's one thing, like how you committed to doing the sugaring. And sorry, I know this is like, I'm like ping-ponging, but I'm trying to, like, okay, how can I make this make sense
together? I know that makes sense.
But I think that's a big thing that I'm really working on too, is like making a decision and
uncertainty.
Yes, in uncertainty. Making a decision in uncertainty, making the choice, and being disciplined, committing to it. I feel like we're doing a lot of, like, quotey things today, which is super fun. But I saw something the other day. I feel like it was a play or something. I can't remember, but maybe this wasn't a quote. It was just an idea. But basically it was, you live your life in the illusion that you don't have control, that everything is up to fate. Like, whether you believe in fate or not, this was just whatever. But it's like, you live in the illusion that, you have no control and things are happening to you and you're just waiting for the next thing. But you do have control. You do get to say what happens by making a decision. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. Mm-hmm. I liked that a lot. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just how do you make a decision? I guess that's what I would like to know. If you guys,
I really think it is based off how you feel in your stomach about it. Like, truly. Mm-hmm. I just, like, even when I was deliberating on, like, okay, which city do I want to live in of these two, like, pretty big film cities, where do I want to live? I look at how I felt when I was in one of them. And I just felt shitty. Like, I didn't want to go outside. I don't know why I didn't want to go outside. Yeah. I just didn't. And I'm like, okay, that tells me something. Yeah. The way I feel when I talk to someone tells me something. You know what I mean? The way I feel when I put on a certain shirt. When I do, I'm like, I don't want anything that doesn't just make me go, this is it. And I think leading with that in times of uncertainty is really important. Like, for me, I knew I would feel sick if I didn't do that sugaring course. Yeah. Lead with your tummy.
Lead with your tummy. Make a decision. Make a decision. Yes. And that will lead to contentment. Wow, that was profound.
That was profound.
Sorry.
High five, buddy.
Nice. You guys can quote me on your podcast now.
Yes. You'll have to. Because that was good.
Thanks.
That was really good. Oh my gosh, well, guys.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, that was fun.
God, that was fun. Our second in person.
I know.
Wow.
We technically have a show that I still haven't released, but I've had a really hard time because my audio sometimes, because of the room that I was in, sounds like I'm underwater. So I'm trying to fix it.
Oh,
so there'll be an episode from weeks prior.
Sure.
That'll come out. But
yeah. And I mean, hey, maybe we'll have more in person over the next couple weeks.
That would be fun. I would love that.
That would be fun.
I mean, this was great.
This was great.
This was so nice.
Yes. There's also, so we talked about this in our first episode a little bit, and then we'll let you go, I promise. Guests. There is someone who is going to be in Winnipeg, who we've discussed as having a guest on our podcast who said she would do it.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I was like, there is no way that is it.
Yeah. So maybe, maybe.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a really good live one.
Yeah.
You guys are in for a treat.
You're in for a treat. I'm in for a treat. Yeah. I'm excited
too.
To pick her brain.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway.
That one will be more than a car preamble. We'll get
that will be more than a car preamble.
That you get the most out of that. Okay, yeah. Love it. Well, guys, I love you.
We love you. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.